Thank you for joining us on the Don't Waste Your Life YouTube channel, where our goal is to help you to be present, to be happy, and to be thankful. Today, I want to give you my top tips on how to be successful and get started in a new adventure, regardless of what that is. So for example, this YouTube channel is completely new to me, something I've never done before. I want to share how I've learned in other areas and translate those learnings to you in a way that you can use that to help move you forward. So before I start, I want to give you a little story. So one of the businesses I started back in 2007 was a real estate investment business. My partner and I became very successful. We had a couple setbacks, but at the same time, we were able to move it forward and learn as we went along. So as we became successful, people started asking us, hey, how are you doing this? And we even got how we became successful and how I was able to balance this while having a full-time job. It was an awesome experience, and I learned a lot from it to be able to do that. But at the same time, then I started getting all these people reaching out to me out of nowhere. Hey, how did you become successful? How did you do this? How did you do that? And what I realized quickly is that, it's almost like Matthew McConaughey in Failure to Launch, is that really other people are their own worst enemy. And really the person in the mirror can be your biggest detriment to helping you move forward. So understanding that and being able to move beyond that is super important. So the things that people would ask me is like, hey, what if I buy the wrong house? I put in 50 offers like the gurus tell me to do. Nobody accepted them. What do I do? Or the worst one that really frustrated me to no end was the people really had a very solid knowledge base, maybe even better than I had. Being an experienced real estate investor, I had done this before. They had a lot of book knowledge and understanding of the ins and outs, but they wouldn't pull the trigger. And so I pulled them aside and I'm like, look, I can't keep meeting you if you're not going to pull the damn trigger, because you got to make progress. And progress is taking action, which I'll talk about. And so a lot of these people I felt were just dreamers, that they just were not moving forward. And so when you're getting started, it's just trying to make progress and moving forward and taking action. So as I talk about my new adventure on YouTube, I want to help us with top 5 tips to move us forward. First one, it would be taking action. So as the great Marshawn Lynch says, I'm all about that action, boss. When he had an interview with Deion Sanders, he's just saying, hey, you got to move to get going. You got to be able to go somewhere. And the only way you can do that is by taking action and moving forward. That's just part of the journey. And I would say the other thing that goes with that is you got to be okay with number 2, which is to fail fast and fail often. And you got to be okay with this as part of your growth process. As you're taking these actions and you're failing and things aren't working, it's okay. It's part of your growth process. And each failure, you have to be responsible for those learnings to move you forward. So think about Thomas Edison. If Thomas Edison gave up after the 100 filament that he put in the experiment for the light bulb, he would not be the inventor of the light bulb. So we got to keep this in mind as we process, as we iterate through this, is that we got to be okay with failing. It's part of the process. Number 3 is understand the journey, and that's not all about the destination. And so as we're thinking about this, the process. So Sean McDermott always talks about the process and being okay with the process. The process is where you should be focused on and just doing it. And as you do it, it is what's going to move you and propel you forward. And that's going to get you to that destination. Everybody talks about, hey, I want to do the event. But the journey is what gets you to that event. So as people become millionaires, what makes them become millionaires is the process, not the event. The process and the journey makes them become those millionaires. So related to that, in number 4 is being persistent and being consistent. So like this new YouTube channel, I'm gonna have to find a day of the week that I'm always gonna publish a video. And that's gonna be my goal. That's gonna be my target. I'm gonna work on week in and week out to move this forward. And as I gather momentum, it's gonna carry it forward. It's almost like when you launch a rocket ship into space, 80% of your fuel is just getting you off the ground, getting that momentum going as you're creating that new endeavor. That's what's kind of moving you forward. And that last 20% of the fuel is just carrying and coasting that momentum into the future, wherever you're going. And that's what makes it look like you're being lucky, but you're not really being lucky. It's the consistency is key for that. So as you look at like Kobe Bryant, he was always worked very, very hard. And what he would say all the time is that he would outwork everybody. He would be out there training before everybody else, and he would still be working out when people were going home. And so the hardest worker, it pays off. The consistency makes him lucky. Or Michael Phelps, where his coach would help train him day in and day out. What made him head and shoulders above everybody else is that he was just consistent, persistent, and he created good habits and also a good mental state. His coach really helped him with his mental game, and that's actually way more important than a lot of people give credit for. So in a future video, I'm hoping to talk about habits and how to create good habits and how to make that part of your DNA, which becomes critical for your success in the future. So the last thing I want to talk about, number 5, which is get a mentor or an accountability partner. Because sometimes we all need a little push. Some people think that you should get somebody that that can help you, or you can try to get somebody that is good at a specific skill that you're trying to master. I think there's a place for all those. It just kind of depends on you as a person, what's going to help you be successful and how you know your personality. So like with Michael Phelps' coach I talked about, one of the things that really helped him is his coach knew how hard he could push when, because their relationship, they were so close to each other that he could know just by looking at Michael and his body language and just who he was that particular day. He knew what kind of workout he could do, what he could push, what he could do. So I would encourage you sometimes to find somebody that knows you, almost like those deep, dark secrets about you and the limitations that you have, and help push you to move forward. They can help you be more accountable than anybody else that you would never know from there. So with that, those are my top 5 tips on how to get started, be successful at whatever you may do in whatever journey you're trying to accomplish. So with that, just remember to always be present, be happy, and be thankful. Thank you.